So, hello everyone. I will quickly record an overview as best as I can. Currently, the overall global situation regarding Bitcoin is not changing. In fact, there is still little internal liquidity. Stablecoins are accumulating on exchanges, but they have not yet been realized. I show these charts in the Telegram channel. They are waiting for their moment, a favorable entry point, a good entry point that will apparently be better than now, because they are not really entering at the moment. And now the market is being influenced by external factors, namely the impact of geopolitics and the influence of the stock market, which in turn is affecting the reports. It reacts very strongly to the employment reports in America. The key report will be on Friday. This means that the Monday report was not very good. According to PMI, manufacturing activity in America is declining. Today, JOLTS also came in worse than expected. The expectation for the number of job openings in the labor market is below the forecast. In other words, the American economy is rapidly heading toward a recession. Against this backdrop, markets have begun to price in an increased likelihood of a 0.5% rate cut, meaning an immediate 0.5% move at the meeting in September, which will take place around the middle of September at the Federal Reserve. That is, not 0.25, but 0.5 considering. Well, the Friday employment report will probably clarify everything regarding how much the rate will ultimately be lowered. The probability that it will be lowered is priced in at 100% by the swaps. Overall, it could be either 0.25 or 0.5, any of these steps. Moving on purely technically, I have already mentioned that I have taken a position based on the top 2 points. The average is 58,330. Overall, nothing interesting is happening here. There is no volume in these recent candles. Therefore, they could just as likely be bought back up. The only thing is that technically, if we consider the worst case scenario, yes, at the mark of $53,000, which I mentioned in the Telegram channel. By the way, I share much more information and do it faster on my Telegram channel than on YouTube. So, if you aren't subscribed, I recommend you subscribe. The link below this video, $53,000 when considering a bunch of scenarios. Here, hypothetically, we can draw this reversal pattern. On the 4-hour chart, it's a head and shoulders pattern, although it's complex and quite jagged. Well, let's say, and then even somehow mark it like this, the point of decline, where the dip could be down to the area of $50,000. Well, with a quick rebound to $53, and then there will be consolidation and a turnaround upwards. In other words, is there something to close here? Are there gaps, imbalances, whatever you want to call it? Yes, there are. From the hourly chart, if we look here, there are gaps. 51, 51 and 500, approximately the last from the hourly chart. If you look at the minutes, they will probably be deeper there. This option is probably the worst. That is another jab. $50,000 with a pause at $53 and a quick buyback. Or the second option, that is, we are now approaching the local channel, to the center of the local channel. Here is the weekly extra pivot, and somewhere nearby, the monthly extra pivot is looming. So, this is all in the range of about $54,000 to $55,000. This is the kind of range from which one can still move upward. Additionally, we are seeing some semblance of convergence. That is, a convergence where the bulls are attacking and the indicator is rising. Each new low is higher than the previous one. The same is true for the RSI indicator. Although this could be a bearish flag, in such sideways movements, it's hard to predict. If we stop here at these levels, a quick buyback to 60, maybe, even 59 to 60, or even 61 with a margin, is also likely, just as further decline is. In other words, it's pointless to guess here. One needs to observe the reaction to the levels and then make decisions. So far, there haven't been any significant reactions anywhere, just like there are no volumes, because Bitcoin, I repeat, is moving exclusively with the stock market, and it is quite likely that September will go in the same direction. I mentioned this yesterday as well. Therefore, I don't want to take any action from the upper long pool for now. In the worst case, I will wait for a reaction at $53,000. That is, I might not do anything at all if we go lower. I will add in these zones even if there is a fairly large volume, or I might close my stop here while waiting for these zones. We'll see, depending on the market sentiment and what happens. Maybe Iran will wake up and want to strike Israel again. Who knows? But for now, this daily chart, as you can see, shows a terrible long sideways movement with descending extremes. from which an upward breakout could happen at any moment because on the weekly chart, it's just a stretched bullish flag. As for Bitcoin, there is nothing new with Ethereum. I had 3 limit orders to buy there, of which only one was executed at $2,505. The 2 lower ones are still valid at $280 and $1,810. That's it, no changes here. For Ethereum, the main goal is still to retest this zone. This means approximately the combination of the 50 and 200 moving averages, somewhere in the range of $3,000 to $3,200. So either from the current levels, or we might go down again right here, or even down to around 2,000 for the second limit order. This is if Bitcoin goes to 53, but I repeat, it's not a fact that it will go. I wrote about it here. I wrote everything. If we look at the strongest levels, the strongest ones are 53, well, around 52 to 54 if we take the block. And there are intermediate levels right now. Right now, there is a possible drop down to 54. These are the current levels. They are not the strongest, but they do exist. Altcoins. Yes, many are interested in altcoins. I'll say it again. I'm still being asked if I sold my altcoins even though I've said 50 times that I haven't done anything with them. This is the table hashtag in the general Telegram channel. Well, in the public Telegram channel. So, Total 3 represents the market capitalization of all altcoins without Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is essentially the same. Right now, we are again testing the annual moving average, meaning we are retesting the center of the global descending channel and the center of the local red descending channel. In principle, it looks interesting here, and I would like to see a new bounce in altcoins from around these current prices, give or take. Because Total 3, if we consolidate now, and if we look at the levels like this, consolidating weekly below the mark of $520 billion, that is, below the current red weekly candle, then essentially the path will open up for us down to 480,400. 480 to 490, and possibly even somewhere around here. So it could also be 440. This would already be a test of the weekly time frame level. This is purely about a trend reversal. Although from the current levels, it is still possible to download. There are quite serious spikes here. So, in principle, this option is also available, just as it can rebound from the current levels. Nevertheless, I will hold onto altcoins at least until the end of the year. I still believe that we haven't seen any real rebound. Any of these attempts at a rebound are insignificant. They are attempts that haven't even started. The rebound is a manifestation of convergence, which is already visible on the weekly time frame and can also be seen on the daily time frame. So here we can see that we have found a decent convergence, meaning a convergence of bullish trends, and I would like to see something more serious, with at least one of the recent highs being updated, especially since this is a bullish trend. From there, in the best case scenario, it could reverse through a double top if that happens, but for now, there hasn't been a rebound, so I'm waiting, and as before, I believe that the most interesting developments will begin in the fourth quarter of this year, and I will also gather good profits from my alt portfolio. I have quite a significant amount of money invested there. It's currently very difficult to trade Bitcoin on a global scale. I trade on the daily chart. If you are trading it, it's probably better to do so on intraday time frames, and not even from the 4-hour chart, but probably from the hourly chart. There are its own trends. It's done a bit more simply there. From the daily chart, it's a brutal sideways movement with swings in both directions. In other words, the total amount I've traded in the sideways market is currently about break-even. This is based on all the recent signals. However, the EWP indicator shows excellent entry points. I am honestly surprised at how perfectly it works. The guys in the channel are basically surprised along with me. Starting from 2023, as of January 1st, 2023, there has not been a single miss on the EWP indicator. Not one. This is a really good indicator. It would be easier if I just traded based on it. But I was trading using the old technique, and in a sideways market, my technique doesn't work very well. My technique is more trend-based, and in a trend, I certainly make much more profit than what the same EWP provides. However, in the long run, it will be interesting to see who performs better, me or Bitcoin. Or EWP, because EWP has collected profits normally in this sideways market. In other words, if anyone doesn't understand what I'm talking about, Even though I've shown it many times, there hasn't been a single mistake in the entire last block. Here we only take profits on the long position, then we switch to short on August 5th during this decline. And now we are also taking profits on the short position. Basically, it works perfectly, and there haven't been any stops, only profit. This has been the case since March. We'll look at the results later to see which is better, but here we are exclusively talking about Bitcoin. That is, if you are trading with EWP and are part of a separate group, it is advisable to trade the daily chart for Bitcoin. Here, it works very accurately. Well, Ethereum has stop losses, but it's still in good profit, although not as much as Bitcoin. Here is Bitcoin and Ethereum. I haven't touched the rest of the LTE for now. It needs further adjustments. That's it. So, that's the situation. Thank you all. I am currently in another place. If there are any updates, they will be infrequent, but I will try to stay in touch regarding any important matters. So, don't worry, everything will be fine. The main thing is to follow the risk management that I provide. That is, if I say leverage 1.5, it means leverage 1.5. If I say spot with an axe, it's spot with an axe. That's the only way to make money in such a market. Yes, unfortunately, if you leverage 20, I am powerless here. So, well, it's clear here that any big movement will take you out of the market, which has already happened several times in this sideways trend. That's it, thank you all. This was Mozart. Have a good day, and goodbye everyone.